Adam, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Can you hear me all right on the computer audio?
Yeah, it sounds great. How about you can hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, totally. Just want to make sure without the headphones or anything that we're good.
Yeah, if you want to do headphones, you can. If not, it sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Cool. I'm on the computer, so figure it's easier. How you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. Thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
was looking forward to this.
Rad. Yeah. I saw we became Facebook friends yesterday, I think, or the day before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, so like Scott and Wade and those guys, which is I
You
noticed.
under-in-law? UL?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know those guys pretty well or?
Yeah, I know. We know him. I mean, as a band, we know him well. Played a lot of shows with him, actually. More than a handful of shows. We used to do the San Diego House of Blues
Oh,
Christmas
sure.
shows, like those holiday shows, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do those with them, and we did the Orange County ones when they came up here to the House of Blues, and good times.
Yeah, those are great. They're great guys. I've known Scott's. I mean, his family. We're like family friends, so to
Oh,
speak.
really?
Yeah, I've known his younger brother. We went to school together, and
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, Scott actually played our wedding.
Really? What,
Yeah.
doing acoustic stuff?
Yeah, he did. He played like the reception. He just played acoustic and
That's awesome, man.
played like while my wife walked in the aisle and stuff. Yeah, so I thought
That's
that was
really
cool
cool.
that you
Yeah,
knew them.
that's cool. They were good friends of ours. We played a lot of shows with them. It was back when PK and Steve Morris were in the band.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Just after Rob left, so it was
Okay.
kind of that era before the reforming with his brother and etc.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
Johnny.
they've had quite the roller coaster ride, haven't they?
Totally. Yeah, but it was always fun. They were always great to us. They always, frankly, they invited us to come out and play some shows in Arizona, even. So it was always a good time playing with them and hanging with them.
Yeah, actually, I forgot even that Scott wrote our like theme song for the podcast too. So when the intro of our podcast on every episode is him. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. So I saw for you used to work for 91X, huh?
Yeah, I did radio for like over 15 years prior to really
15 years.
Yeah, I started at 91X in 06 or 05, and then went to San Francisco, worked on the alternative station in San Francisco, and then came back down to San Diego. And I was working there all the way up until a couple months ago, until like COVID really hit.
Really?
And then it's been a shift as far as like all the radio stations are dying right now.
Dying.
Yeah,
all the revenue's gone. K-Rock too, about what K-Rock's going through, and just getting rid of the personalities and hosts and such, and yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, all those alt stations are doing it. Like San Francisco, the station I used to work for was Live 105 in San Francisco, and they're like the music director who had been there 20 years, they laid him off during COVID. So yeah,
that's tough. And are you in San Diego?
We're in San Diego.
Nice. I went to school in San Diego. We're in Orange County. That's where the band's from.
Oh, cool.
And I went to school in San Diego, and I remember coming back to San Diego from Orange County as soon as I would get 91X. It was like one of my favorite parts, because back in the 2000s and such, it was the only place that you could ever hear punk rock on the radio. Besides like the occasional, Pennywise song on K-Rock.
Right. Yeah, I know. They would play pretty. Yeah, they did a great job in those early days of curating like a pretty cool sound.
Stayed true to it too.
Right.
The 91X Fest back in the day was always a good time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, those started to kind of fall through with like the festivals. There's just it was like so oversaturated with like things happening that it was just stuff was getting lost. And then obviously now nobody can play shows, so
it's brutal, man.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to the staff and crew and everybody that relies on this for income. I mean, and then you see the independent music venues and artists. Artists struggle, no question, but artists have alternative means to generating income between merchandise sales and streams, and now everybody's doing the online streams and shows. But my heart really breaks for the venue owners and the staff and crew. That's just
the crew, the
drowning.
Yeah, I didn't even think about all the people that lose their jobs just because that they just are on the road 24/7, just helping these bands tour.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's talk about are you from Orange County originally?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the band's all from Orange County. One of our guys lives down in Ocean Beach in San Diego.
Oh,
we're all here from Orange County. That's where the band started in 2000.
Right on. Well, how'd you get into music? Just growing up in SoCal?
That's how I got into punk rock, for sure. How'd I get into music? At as early age as I can remember, my mom was Motown and classic rock, and my dad a little more classical, and had an older brother and sister, of course, which is how most people my age get into punk rock, was either an older sibling or an older friend. So yeah,
a friend's older sibling.
Exactly. So as early as I can remember, it was Bad Religion, Pennywise, even Blink back then, especially from Southern California. Face to Face, No Fun at All. So for me, it was all punk rock. And I remember, graduating high school and graduating college and going on and friends say, "Oh, you still listen to punk rock? That's weird." That's never going to go anywhere for me. It was never just a fad or a phase.
Right.
So, so we got into that scene of music. I think my first album was Bad Religion Generator or something. So,
okay.
Yeah. Sure. So really for us, it's just, we bleed it through and through. That's how we got into music, at least into the punk rock scene.
Sure. What was the first, did you pick up, you play bass, right, in the band?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So you play bass. What about banjo? Looks like there's a banjo back there.
Dude, the banjo, I tried. I found it at a pawn shop. I went for it. It is so hard. I so much respect to the people that can actually play it. I really struggle with it. I still break it out every now and then, but I guess now it's just for looks.
That's funny. Was bass the first instrument you learned how to play?
Bass was, actually, this was my first guitar.
Oh, rad.
As you can tell by stickers.
The stickers, man. Whoa. How come the Wolves Rancid sticker? Or that old logo?
So this is
Vandals.
20 years old now, even on the back side, old school Blink.
AFI. Oh wow, the old Blink without the 182.
The old school Blink, really. So
I have the CD, the Cheshire Cat CD that just says Blink. It was before they repressed it.
I've been looking for that CD for 20 years, man.
Really? You can find it on Discogs.
Really? But is it worth the amount that you got to pay for it on Discogs?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much it runs for on Discogs, but I was digging through in the process of moving a couple years ago. I found it. I was like, oh my God, because they had I just remember the image on the inside cover where the guy's in the box and he has
the little box.
Yeah, I think it's Rick DeVoe. He's in the box with he has the wig on.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, the Cheshire Cat, and I looked it over and I was like, whoa, this is I must have bought this at Music Trader in the 97 or something.
And I had the short bus 7-inch.
Oh my God!
The first thing they put out after the demo tapes and such. And I remember I was maybe 14, 15 years old, and I had to sell it because when you're 14, 15, if you can make $100, it's like winning the lottery. And now I look back, and it was one of the worst things I sold. Get rid of that. Yeah. So
that's rad that you had that early Blink. I mean, the handicap logo is so old. That's so rad.
Yeah, it was old. It was the original. So I was in 7th grade, 12, 13 years old. We were doing a talent show. A couple of my friends, like the way most people fall into playing bass. I already had a friend that was playing guitar, had a friend that was playing drums. And so I went down to the music shop. My parents took me there, and we rented this bass, I don't know, $100 or so for a week, and rented it, took one lesson. The instructor taught me what I needed to know to play the song that we were doing for the middle school talent show. Back then, I think it was Me First version of Leave It on a Jet Plane and Suicide Machine's version of What I Like About You.
Those are the covers you guys did?
Yeah, totally. So that's where it started. Picked up the bass, learned a couple songs, and then started learning some other songs like Face to Face 1,000 Times.
Oh yeah.
I remember that was the first song I really learned on my own how to play on bass. And that's how I got into playing bass. And most bands need a bassist these days, and it just
Sure.
stayed that way going on.
That's cool. That's really cool. So bass, and then from the talent show, and that was middle school, you said?
Middle school. We won the talent show, by the way.
You did? Awesome.
Because no one in the school had ever seen, any type of punk rock or anything like that. So yeah.
Or probably a live band at that point too.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So what was next? Did you start other bands? Did you continue playing with those kids?
So no, not with those kids. Played a little bit, and then started my own band. Shout out, called Despite the Odds, and it was a high school band.
That's a cool name, actually, for a high school band.
Name, right?
Yeah, wow.
14, 15 years old, we had a list of just hundreds of names, and that was the one that really stuck with us, Despite the Odds, DTO. And I actually did that. We actually had a little bit of success in Orange County, nothing major, but just friends and fans, and playing punk rock and doing it well. We started playing shows with Chaser. And Mike LeDonne, singer of Chaser, became one of my best friends. Funny quick story there. My guitarist at the time was playing Anti-Flag, I think Tearing Everyone Down or something.
Rad.
Guitar Center. And Mike, my singer, being such a marketeer, hears some kid playing an Anti-Flag song, so he comes up and he sells us tickets to his show.
Oh man.
So yes. So now we're like, okay, there's this punk band. We never heard of them, but they just sold us tickets to the show. Let's go. Fell in love with the band, fell in love with the music. This really was, 2002, 2003 or something. So it was a long time ago. Started playing shows with Chaser. Every time we'd book a show, we'd get Chaser on, and vice versa. We went to a small school here in Orange County. So we just had all of our friends and fans. That was a thing to do on a Friday night. Hey, Despite the Odds is playing a show, let's go watch. So
rad.
And Despite the Odds started playing shows, there were 200-300 people at our shows. And I was 16 years old. And eventually graduated high school, my band, fizzled. And then I think when I was 2006, Chaser needed a bassist. Chaser, let's shift gears to what's more important, the band now. But they just got back from a 3-week European tour with Good Riddance as director.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really like the break for us, where we started playing a lot of local shows with bands like Pennywise and Unwritten Law, Guttermouth, Authority Zero, No Use for a Name. But then Good Riddance took us to Europe. And
oh wow,
the bassist of Chaser at the time, since I wasn't in the band, he got to have that experience. And Good Riddance was his favorite band. So when he came home, he said, guys, I just pretty much accomplished the greatest thing I could ever imagine.
I just peaked my music career. I'm making it up now.
Exactly. So in this DIY high school band, I pretty much just peaked. Time for me to hang the gloves. So Mike called me and said, hey, are you still playing music? I said, of course. Came in and they made me audition, even though I found out later there was no one else in line. But it was just me. And the rest really was history. So it's been a blast. And for me now, it's going on 15 years with Chaser.
Wow. So did you join the band?
2006, maybe.
Okay. So they had Numb America already out? Was that?
Yeah, they just released Numb America. Quick story on Numb America. While we were in the studio, we were recording at stall number 2. Darian Rundle, who's a producer that did some other albums, and I think even a Yellow Card album. But it was Fletcher Drag from Pennywise.
From Pennywise. Whoa. Okay.
And so Fletcher, knew us and came into the studio a couple of times. And as we were in the middle of recording that album, Good Riddance offered us to come on tour, but we didn't have an album to sell.
Oh.
So we just wrapped up the album and we made what would later be called the European version of that album. And we took it, we pressed 1,000 copies, sold it in Europe, came back home and finished the actual recording.
So there's records that you sold in Europe that never came out here in the US?
Never made it back. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Most people don't even know that, by the way, that there's actually 2 versions of songs with different backing vocals and harmonies and lead guitars and
wow,
all the overdubs that you get to do in the studio on your last few days. We missed all that. So,
oh my gosh.
Two separate versions of it. And then Good Riddance took us on tour. We came back and then we put out Numb America, went on the 2008 Warped Tour. Got invited to
Really?
do the entire Warped Tour, which was still one of my all-time favorite experiences.
Wow. I wonder who was on it that year. Now I want to like look.
I know. I have the flyer too, but some of the memories I have was Real Big Fish.
Okay, rad.
Can you imagine? You wake up, you're in a new city. It's 10 or 12 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're listening to Real Big Fish every single day. You can't not have a smile on your face and feel like you're living the dream. And at that time, I think I was 22 or 22 years old. So that was a really good time. Street Dogs were there. Huge shout out to Street Dogs. They took us under their wing on that entire tour, showed us the ropes, came and would hold our merch flag and our merch banner in our pit almost every Street Dogs themselves coming out. I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Rise Against was on it. I love Rise Against, but this was 2008, and I guess it was a very political time where they were just very political on stage.
Really?
It was more talk, less rock, unfortunately, but Rise Against still one of my all-time favorite bands. Angels and Airwaves was on that. Was never really a big fan, but loved Blink. But being in the same area as Tom DeLonge was pretty special.
Oh yeah, man, that guy just has like an energy about him. Like
he was like the biggest star there, you know. So that was pretty cool.
He's one of the. What's crazy to think is like Blink is one of the biggest bands out there. Like as far as like our generation of music, it's crazy how big they are. Like I'll talk to people that are, you know, from all, you know, in, I don't know, Ireland or UK over, you know, through this podcast, and they'll be like, oh, you know, the first songs I learned were like Blink and Green Day. And it's like so crazy to hear people clearly across the whole world that are like grew up with Blink.
It's crazy. I mean, it was that big. It was a worldwide sensation. You know, it was Britney Spears or something.
For sure, they really were when that Enema of the State record came out.
Exactly, with all the small things and such. It blew up. So to have Tom DeLonge on the Warped Tour was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's rad.
Katy Perry was on it too, which was interesting too. Is on her, I don't know much about her, but I think her first album came out on MySpace Records. Because she had a big MySpace bus, and it was her debut album.
Oh, so you played the year with Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah, because actually at 91X they started playing Kiss the Girl.
That was probably her first song.
Before any like she ever, you know, blew up. She was just some new talent, and yeah, she was on Warped Tour.
She was like on. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying it, but like she was like on the dance floor, drinking, hanging out.
Of course, yeah.
She was just this kind of little, you know, punk rock, pop punk girl at the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was.
Oh my gosh.
And again, you know, super young, being 2 months on the road and being on Warped Tour was a cool experience because what you don't know as a fan, you know, I remember going as a kid, 12, 13 years old to Warped Tour and always trying to like peek behind the fence and see
sure
stuff. Yeah. You know that. And you hang out there, and as someone's walking in and out, you can quickly grab an autograph or something. You know, we were super fans when we were kids. So being on the other side of the fence and finding out about like the nightly barbecues, or when or it was the Agrolites. The Agrolites would play an acoustic show for just all the bands, you know, at a barbecue behind the scenes until 12 o'clock at night. That was really something special.
Yeah, I mean, the Warped Tour is just, I remember going as a kid. The first time I ever saw Green Day was at Warped Tour, and
yeah, me too.
Yeah, and like just seeing bands like that. I remember seeing Blink at Warped Tour when, like, it was right when they had just started peaking. Like, I mean, Enema of the State had just came out kind of in like, they were starting to get in that TRL days.
Yeah.
And you would see the crowd of like young kids and young girls like trying to follow them around and find them, and I'm like, well, it's so bizarre because like the year before, like that would have never happened.
Never. No one knew where they were. And then the TRL days, you have like security holding girls back as they're like reaching across.
And that was like them on Warped Tour. I don't think they realized like when they booked them that it was gonna they're gonna elevate themselves so high. That's crazy.
Yeah, Warped Tour was cool. It was really like a summer camp. Kevin Lyman was phenomenal, and RIP to Warped Tour, but it was just the best. And they really made it feel like a punk rock summer camp, and you would come back the next year and you would see the same people, and that was really cool. And there's a lot of that going on, by the way, in the European festivals now. There's a lot of similarity to that, and that's cool. Pretty much what we transitioned into now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you guys, that's where you're going now for those type shows?
Yeah, for those feels and vibes. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel
we
like
gotta jump on a plane, but it's worth it.
yeah, I feel like the only kind of similar thing now is like the Punk and Drublic tour, like the Fat Records thing. But I mean, they only really put their flagship bands on it.
And that's an awesome show. I mean, if you can go to a festival and see Face to Face, Lagwagon, No Effects, Mad Caddies, Anti-Flag, Plus Plus, that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Southern California, we're lucky that we still have the guys putting on the shows here, like the Back to the Beach with John Feldman and Travis.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, they're doing that. And we have all the, you know, the same guys that do the Punk and Drublic did like the Ye Scallywag down in San Diego.
Oh, yeah. We were part of that.
Punk in the Bar. Yeah, I'm sure. So it's cool that we still have some of those fests to go to, but it's just in Southern California.
Right. The what was it called? Sabroso Festival?
Sabroso.
That kind of toured. Yeah, they toured that a little bit. Yeah. They had, who was the headliner? They had a big
Offspring and
there you go. Okay, yeah.
Vandals too, I think.
Yeah, that was a cool little thing.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And that was cool too, because there's like, you get to see big bands that you would only be able to see like in a stadium, you know, or a theater. And you get to see them on a grass field or in the sand.
Right. Pretty rad. So cool. So cool. Okay, so you guys did Warped Tour, and that was your first tour, was Warped Tour?
No, we did some little headlining tours, you know, going out to the Carolinas and back, going up doing the Pacific Northwest. We did a couple tours with Guttermouth in the Northwest. We did a bunch of runs with Authority Zero and such up the coast of California and things like that. But Warped Tour was just a really special one because it was 2 months on the road, every day, different city, and really kind of rubbing shoulders for the first time with bands we really, really looked up to. And that was
sure.
Especially as a young kid.
Yeah, totally. With the next, were you on the Big Picture, that next record that came out?
Yeah, the Big Picture was our next album. The Big Picture, we struggled to kind of find our identity. We were a fast, melodic, energetic skate punk band in the late 2006, 8, 10. And that was kind of falling by the wayside, that style of music. So we struggled to find our identity. We started introducing a lot more lead guitar and shredding, you know, as they say now. And it kind of fell short. It fell between the people that liked that stuff, that liked heavy, you know, hardcore, thrice, etc., and the people that wanted us to sound like Pennywise again. And it was kind of in the middle, and it fell short for a lot of the fans. But a lot of our real fans now, when they listen to it, they go, they love the songwriting, they love the songs, the lyrics, because it was still Chaser. It just had more dubbed guitars and more dubbed harmonies and a little less punch, and even the production quality was pretty rough. If we could go back and re-record some of those songs, I think it would be a hit with our fan base. But so that kind of fell a little short.
Was that like with the, why do you feel like, was it like the producer you guys were working with, or was just like with the songs that were coming out at the time?
We added a little too much guitar. We toned back the passion and power in the vocals to make it a little more singing, kind of like Alkaline Trio, you know, a little softer on the vocals. But that's not what Chaser is. If you listen to the Chaser song, we're just up the entire time, fast the entire time.
Fast, punk rock, so, like melodic punk rock.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't focus too much on the guitars. We focus on the vocals, the delivery, the melodies. We want to write songs that you can sing along to, that right away it comes on and you're like, all right, I dig this. I can hear where they're going with this. I like this. And so we don't get too bothered or consumed with the guitars. I mean, we still like our good leads and our solos and stuff, but we're not a shreddy band. And that's kind of what we did on the Big Picture. Plus, without calling anybody out, the production quality was a little weak. The guitars didn't have the punch they needed. The drums sounded pretty synthetic. So it felt flat. The overall album just felt flat, but the songs, I still put it on sometimes. And I love some of the songs we wrote. They were so catchy. They just needed to be done better, I guess. So that was that. In the backlash of it, we were also at an age where careers were starting. Every time we'd go on the road, we'd come home and we were breaking even or making a little bit of money or in debt, some tours. And we had bills to pay, started getting married, having kids. And as many bands do, it was just time for us to take a hiatus, or at the time we called it quits. So that was actually, I think maybe about 2011, 2012,
Is that why there was such a gap in between the records?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So we actually called it quits, and we all went on to focus on things that were equally important to us, like our jobs, careers, family, etc.
Sure.
And we just took a break. And then once we got into a state where we could do both, which is nice when you're an adult and you can actually do both.
Right.
Chase your dream and not lose your home. So we decided to reform in about 2015, started playing songs, writing songs. We had just a catalog of songs that had been written over the years.
Sure.
And I think we really took like 35 songs or so and trimmed it down to make an album. And if we're going to segue into Sound the Sirens, 2018, or 2017, I guess, or so, 18, we went into the studio and started recording our new album. And at that time, we did have a legitimate fan base. I mean, 6,000, 7,000 fans on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Facebook.
Yeah.
30,000 fans on MySpace, because we were from the MySpace era.
Sure.
2008, 2000.
Was it hard to translate that because it made that switch probably during the hiatus?
During our hiatus. So all of a sudden we had to build up. I remember posting on MySpace, check 1, 2, is this thing on? Anybody there? If so, come follow us on Facebook. And it was tough. We basically had to rebuild and rebrand the band and build up our following again from scratch. And that was pretty tough because we really did have 25, 30,000 on MySpace. A lot of it was from Warped Tour. We were meeting fans in the country, and merch sales. We were the first one there selling and the last one to break down. We were just slaying CDs. We actually sold 10,000 copies of Numb America on Warped Tour.
Oh my gosh.
We used to have to report our sales to Kevin Lyman, and even he was beyond impressed that this little band that he'd barely heard of was just killing it in the merch game. And we were just working our butts off, hustling CD sales like every band our size had to do on Warped Tour. So we had a big following on the Numb America album. And then when we came back in 2018, we were concerned that, no one was going to know who we were anymore. But surprisingly, a lot of fans still stuck around. And when we wrote Sound the Sirens, we dished all the frivolous stuff. We went back to the core, which was make energetic, catchy, fast, melodic songs that, again, as soon as you put it on, you go, oh, this is a cool song. I dig this. And that's what we did. And surprisingly, a lot of people really took a liking to it, including festival promoters overseas, in Europe, in Canada. Some people in Europe said, I remember seeing you guys with Good Riddance back in 2006.
Wow.
And that really opened up a lot of doors for us to come back on the scene. So it was a wild ride. And I think we found our footing. We're where we need to be. We found the identity of the band. We have the current lineup is the best we've ever had. No disrespect to the others, but we're gelling. So
sure, yeah. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, so during the hiatus, unfortunately, that was the shift from MySpace to Facebook. And I remember it because I was in radio at the time, and MySpace, we were all still using MySpace. And I'm like, why is everybody shifting to this other platform? I felt like this is something at the beginning, it was like only for people that had like an EDU.
Yeah, for college kids.
Yeah, college address. And yeah, it was just crazy how it all switched over so quickly. And then MySpace just got lost. And I'm sure there was a lot of people in your same situation that had massive followings that just didn't translate into to the Facebook world or whatever it was, because it was so new at the time.
And now we all gotta do it again with Instagram.
Right.
And now there's something about TikTok. I guess I gotta sign us up for that.
Oh my dude, that's like a whole beast in itself. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like TikTok you have to like truly invest like a decent amount of time into every post that you do. So I haven't even got into it yet. I
haven't either. It's on my radar because that's what the kids are doing these days. And
right. I know. It's like I want to do it, and then it's like, is it gonna get banned? And then is like Instagram gonna start something different? And like, do you invest in it yet? Like, I don't know. Like, obviously the people that have 6 million followers on there aren't gonna go anywhere. But
totally.
To be the new person on there, it's interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, it was a tough transition for us. I think we did so successfully. We started building a mailing list again, an email list, which is fantastic because one of the posts we did on, Facebook, they limit your reach to however many 100 people, and that's just a crock. So
wait, really?
Oh yeah, when you post on Facebook, they limit the reach, and their algorithms limit you so that you boost the post and you do sponsored ads and etc.
Oh, sure.
So
they want your money.
Yeah, exactly. So they can generate income. I get it. But so we started doing a mailing list, and that works great because the people that want to buy the record, moving on to Look Alive, we sent that email blast out and we sold that out literally within 2 hours. We sold 400 copies, which is just
crazy. Yeah, I love what you did as far as like the different like colored vinyls, and like there's only a certain amount like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. We are scheduled to release Look Alive. It's a new EP on September 4th, Labor Day weekend. And what we wanted to do was we had to push the album release back. We went in, we recorded the album. We actually had 15 songs on the album, or for the album, plus whatever we were going to do, maybe a couple more, because we ended up having like 46 minutes of music. And surprisingly, by the way, I must say, it was all killer, no filler. We just came and we brought the fire again. No filler songs, no acoustic stuff, nothing like that. And we wouldn't be able to fit it all on a vinyl. So we said, maybe let's take a couple of songs, do a 7-inch down the road. When COVID hit and all of our tours were getting canceled and the world was shutting down, we just didn't want to put an album out and then go tour on it a year and a half later.
Right.
It didn't feel right. We wanted the fans to learn the songs and know the songs and connect with the songs and then come out and see them live, and we missed that opportunity. So we decided we'll push the album back until we can figure out and get a better grasp of what's going on for a tour next year. But we had to give the fans something. We've been promoting that we're going to drop a new album. We've been promoting that we're in the studio. So we released 2 songs that would have been on the album, and we put out a 7-inch now instead. A 7-inch EP, 2 songs. They're exclusive to the 7-inch. They won't be on the album, therefore. That way the fans can really get excited about something, and we felt like we owe it to them. You can't just tell us you're not going to put the album out and leave us hanging. So we gave them a couple of songs, and what we did was each color, we had 4 colors, 75 for each, and 100% of the band proceeds are going to be donated to charities. And we handpicked the charities we wanted to donate to. And we just felt like in the midst of COVID and everything that's going on in the world right now, let's give some music and let's give back. Let's do our part. It probably won't end up being a lot of money in the end, but every little bit counts. And that was kind of the message we wanted to send to the fans. So we picked 4 really cool charities. We had Equal Justice, which is Equal Justice Initiative, but which was huge and very important, and especially what's going on right now. Crisis Aid International, which just helps people in times of crises around the world. And Educational First Steps, which helps to provide early childhood education to kids in need, under the age of 5. And Bill, our guitarist, happens to be a high school teacher. My wife happens to be an early childhood educator. And
cool.
It's really, really important to us. And we really believe that we're failing our kids just as a society by not investing more into our teachers and our education and into the kids. I mean, they really are going to be the future. That's a matter of fact because they're the next generation. So sure. they are going to be the future, and we simply don't invest enough into them. And Surfrider Foundation, which takes care of the beaches and the oceans, and the environment, which is really important to us.
Yeah, I love them. They're great.
They're awesome. They're really a fantastic organization. So each record was designated to those different organizations, and we thought that's just a cool way to let the fans pick the one they want and pick the charity they wanted to donate to. When we released it, go ahead.
Sorry. So each color represented a different charity?
Exactly. So the red was Crisis Aid.
Got it.
Blue was Surfrider. The gold was Educational First Steps. And then the multicolor with all the splatters was Equal Justice.
That's rad.
Yeah, it was rad.
Yeah, I've never heard of another band doing something like that. That's so cool.
I don't know. It's not a lot. The dollar amount may be insignificant, but the gesture is impactful, and that's what we want people to take away from it. Is, hey, Chaser, they don't have a lot of money. They don't sell a lot of records, but we all just got to do our part. We all have to do our part. There's a strong outline that I really love in one of their newer albums that says, you can't change the world, but you can always tend the neighborhood. And we believe in that. You got to take care of your communities. And that's
I
where
love that. Yeah. Wow. Very,
so,
very, very cool.
So we promoted the heck out of it with bundles and t-shirts and you know the drill. And when we released that, we literally sold out of every copy of our record within just 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It just shows the fans' desire to want to do good and want to, and I, you know, probably want to get a piece of something that's going to be a limited Chaser history, which I think is
right. Are you guys going to do another run of them, or was that it? Was just the 75?
I don't want to. I think that ruins the specialness of it.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, and a lot, don't get me wrong, a lot of fans, you know, we're getting some hate mail that they missed out and they didn't get a chance to get it. And I get that. I really do. And we even had some like test presses and transition presses, so some special presses. And we wanted to make sure that those just wouldn't get flipped on eBay or something like that. So we made sure that the fans who really wanted them got them. And I think that it makes it a special piece, and it's in a unique moment in time right now when the world just needs to see more people doing good. And that's it. And it's kind of going to be left in the Chaser history of something we did in 2020. And hopefully at the end of the year, beginning next year, we're going to put out the album. We're going to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So what comes off on September 4th is the full EP?
Yeah, the full EP with 2 songs.
Cool.
It's just a 7-inch. No CD copies of it. Just a digital and a 7-inch with 2 songs, side A, side B.
And the 7-inch is different from the 4.
From the full length.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So these 2 songs are exclusive to the 7-inch. Won't be on the full length. We haven't divulged it to the fans yet. Maybe this is the right place or not, but the full length will have 13 songs on it.
Rad.
Clocking in at still like 40 minutes. So it's a lot of music.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. What do you have you guys like how have you been promoting it as far as like are you guys doing the Instagram live streams or anything like that?
We haven't, you know, we're sensitive to the COVID situation. A couple of our guys are actually firefighters. Mike and Davey, our drummer, are firefighters.
Amazing. Yeah.
And their careers obviously take that very seriously as well. So we haven't really been wanting to promote ourselves in, you know, not being exemplary role models. Not to say that, you know, Authorities Who did a stream last night, there's some of my personal best friends. I love those guys. Mm-hmm. Not to say that anybody who is doing live streams shouldn't be, but we just have different regulations from the fire department. So that's something that's kind of put a burden on us. Anyway, not a burden, but I mean, prevented us from doing so. So
yeah, you got to be safe, especially with 2 of your members having to, you know, go save other people for their lives. You don't want them
exactly. And you know, if I get it, they're out in the field, they got to take risks. But for us to get together and play music, that's not a risk that I'm willing to subject the public to.
Yeah. I totally understand that. That's awesome that you guys are being that careful, to be honest.
So yeah. So we haven't done many streams. We haven't done a lot. We haven't practiced in it feels like 6 months or so. I mean, we're itching, but we're writing new music, writing new songs independently, and so trying to stay busy, doing a lot of the promotion and the hype for this Look Alive album. And we're gonna have to start focusing on the next album now, actually getting the singles uploaded, getting the music videos done and such. So we're in high gear already.
Sure. Yeah. Have you been writing a lot or you said you guys are all writing independently? Are you sending each other tracks?
Yeah. That's what we do. We either use some voice memos or some basic tracks just to send some ideas. And then we kind of spitball and toss it back and forth. And we're already probably halfway up to a new album again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed that with people. I'll talk to them and they're like, yeah, they like, you know, you spent all this time putting this record together. You're stoked to put it out and now you can't tour it. And then it's like, well, does this record just never get toured? And then, cause we're going to have another one pretty much done by the end of the quarantine. It's just like,
it's brutal. It's brutal. I mean, you spend so much time and, you know, something about Chaser that I think all of our fans know is we're all about just that positive mental attitude and about spreading love and kindness and compassion. And that's really, really important to us because we're a punk band established in 2000 and our idols are Pennywise and Bad Religion and anti-establishment. And I get it because we are punk rock, you know, burn it down. For real. Burn the whole thing down. It's a mess. But we try to take all that and channel it into, you know what, there's only so much you can control. Stand up for what you believe in, fight for what you believe in. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of each other, because that's all we really have control over. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be out in the streets protesting. We absolutely should. I always idolized Anti-Flag and what they stood for. And growing up as a kid, you know, I was 12 years old. I couldn't go take to the streets of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and march with my brothers and sisters. So I picked up a guitar. So I started writing music, because that was my way of reaching an audience. So we really believe at the end of the day, be a better human being, take care of each other, be kind, be compassionate, be understanding and patient with one another. And maybe that's so important to us because it's not only is it something we can so easily control, but it's something that we're so readily abandoning. When you go on social media and you look at the way people talk to each other, it blows my mind. I mean, it hurts my soul to see that this is what we come to, that this is how we talk to one another. So if you're not going to go take to the streets and march, and I don't think that's for everybody, but the least you can do is be a decent human being on social media. Stop attacking one another. So for us, it's such a unique time where we're just so quick to attack each other, and we've forgotten really the connection, the human interaction and connection with one another, and how easy it is to just be nice. So we take the politics, we take the anti-establishment, we take the corruption and what's going on, but we try to put a positive spin on all of it, almost in all of our songs. Hey, but you know what? Control what you can, do what you can. It can get better. Just take care of each other, be kind to one another. And we always try to flip the script a little bit in that capacity. So anyway, appreciate you letting me rant a little bit, but that's really important to us as a band. That's what we stand for.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Thank you, dude, so much for doing this, Jesse. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Advice for aspiring artists. Well, all I really know is punk rock. If I knew how to make it somewhere else, maybe we would have tried that. All I know is punk rock, and I have to be honest that in 2010, 11, 12, we weren't honest with ourselves about what kind of band we were, what kind of music we wanted to play, and we chased something that probably wasn't honest and sincere. And when we came back and wrote Sound the Sirens in 2018, we didn't care about anything besides let's make a damn good punk rock album, similar to the 90s and the early 2000s that fans are going to love. So if I have any advice, is be true. Be true to yourself, be true to your fans, be true to what you want to get out of it. You listen to some of the most popular new artists, Billie Eilish or something, for example. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like everything else. Do something new, break the mold, but be true to who you are, be true to what you stand for, and maybe that too, stand for something. Everybody wants to rally behind a good cause these days. Everybody who's like us, at least, that looks at the world and thinks, man, you know, it's pretty rough out there. What's the future going to look like? Stand for something. Have a meaning behind your music and be true to yourself. And I think that whether you reach the stars, the moon, you know what, at least you're going to have fun and you're going to be honest. And that's really what it's about at the end of the day.